Welcome to Dental All-Stars. I'm Eric Vickery, lead mastery coach at All-Star Dental Academy and president of Vickery Coaching. And I'm very excited to interview our guest today, Dr. William Lopez. He was born in Atlanta. I still feel like you're so young, Dr. Lopez, but you were born in Georgia. You were raised in Georgia. You went to school in Georgia. So let's look at his bio. His father is Cuban and his mother was from Georgia. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Georgia. He earned a master's in biology from Georgia State University and completed his doctorate of dental medicine at the Dental College of Georgia. Lots of Georgias. Following dental school, Dr. Lopez completed an advanced education in general dentistry with an emphasis on dental implants and complex comprehensive treatment. Dr. Lopez is a member of the Georgia Dental Association, the American Dental Association, and the local Spirit Dental Study Club. He resides in Augusta with his wife, Mackenzie, and their two daughters. And of course, he's got a son on the way in January, so congratulations. In his free time, Dr. Lopez is learning how to play the piano. He enjoys hunting, golfing, and traveling with his family. So welcome, Dr. Lopez. And I've been wanting to discuss with you for a while now. I've been texting you and talking with you at our meetings that I want to talk to you about insurance and restrictive insurance and how functioning as a dentist outside of restrictive insurance works for you. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Eric, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I finally tracked you down and pinned you down to a time and a commitment, huh? You're probably wondering, yeah. You're probably wondering, if you don't do this, I'm never going to stop asking, right?
You know, it's one of those things. My wife knows that if I don't put something on my calendar, then I'm going to forget about it. So I put it on there for today, and it worked out perfectly.
Awesome, love it. Thank you so much again. So here's what I want for the dentists that are listening, especially for those who are either considering resigning from insurance, but most importantly, I think the story that you can share with those that are getting ready to graduate from dental school, they just graduated from dental school, they're an associate somewhere, they're looking to buy a practice, and what are they looking for? And so I would love it if we just go through some questions and create some story here for them to understand. So first of all, yes or no, was there a time you ever participated with insurance?
No.
So out of school, boom, you're at a practice, and that practice did not participate with any insurance at all.
No, I went straight on as an associate in a fee-for-service practice, and did not participate in any insurance. And I had a lot of mentors that made me realize how important that was. So I did somewhat search out a practice like that, knowing my goal eventually was to buy, but that's where I wanted to start out.
Love it, love it. So when you say, let's define fee-for-service for those listening or not participating with insurance. In your practice now, how you handle insurance, tell people listening how you guys do it in your office, just straight, this is how we do it. Not like you're talking to a patient, but like you're talking to dentists, right?
Yeah, so our office, we see patients of all insurances. We kind of let them know up front that we file their insurance for them. They pay us for services rendered, and then most of the time they'll get a check from their insurance company. Every once in a while, check comes to us, and then we just cut a refund check to the patient. But it works out really well because I don't have to deal with looking at what the insurance is going to allow, how, if they've had something done recently, that really shouldn't change what I feel like I should do. And it helps because the patients understand, and we do a great job with your help, especially communicating with them of the importance and of our type of practice, and also why we don't do it, why we want to stay fee-for-service out of network. Well, we don't say out of network, but not contracted with them.
Yes.
It just makes things much better relationship between us and the patient.
So this is what we call a true fee-for-service practice, meaning the patient pays the practice, we file the claim for them, and the insurance reimburses the patient directly.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
And we have an amazing team. I think it's really important in our type of practice too, that we have an amazing team that does all the lead work for the patient. We file everything, narrative if we need it, pictures, all that stuff is done for them, even though we don't participate with their insurance, but that way they don't have to be concerned about it being filed correctly.
Yes. Yes. So somebody listens going, holy cow, that seems like a tough sell to patients on the phone. That's something that you've worked on over the years. You're a
Yeah,
mentor
definitely.
before that. So let's come back to that. We're going to come back to that at the end on how we accomplish this with patients. But was there ever a time when you were in dental school that you thought, oh, I need to be in network with dentists, or how did you know you didn't want to be in network with dentists? Tell us about how your vision came to be, how you came to this thought, I want to be on this side of this insurance game.
I'd have to think back. I had several older mentor family friends of ours that were dentists that did not participate in insurance. They were, your true fee-for-service practice.
Yeah.
And they talked to me about that, and I was early dental school or applying to dental school. I did not know what they were talking about. But I carried that forward as I started to learn more about the business side of dentistry, of what that actually meant. So, there were a lot of corporate dental companies, a lot of people that would come try to recruit us during dental school to go into that model. And I just knew that's not where I wanted to be. You can hear great things and bad things about every different type of practice, but overall there was not a lot of good information about practices that were solely PPO practices and how much control they had over what you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's actually a middle part to this. You're on, let's say, one side of it, fee for service. The opposite spectrum, the pendulum swing is in network with PPOs. It can get even deeper with DHMO and all that kind of stuff. But you fee for service on one end and in network participation on the other. And in the middle, there is out of network, but you accept assignment of benefit, an out of network provider, meaning the check comes to you, but you're not in network accepting the insurance fees. Somewhere in that middle, you're over here on the fee for service side, which is amazing. That's completely amazing. So how did you compare in this thought process with other your colleagues in dental school as you graduated and they went out and you went out and you did things? You must have some stories about maybe arguments you got, discussions you got in about being in network, not a network. How did that compare?
Yeah, one thing I always talk about dentists getting together is it just sometimes becomes like a competition. You don't want to come across too combative. I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talk about that as far as people who went straight out and joined a corporation that they felt like, oh, I'm a partner, I'm an owner partner, and I kind of just didn't want to come across as an arrogant person of no, you're really not. The corporation is just telling you that. But it's one of those things that you have the colleagues that are 100% PPO, or they are in network or contract with a lot of these people. Their argument is people won't come to see me if I'm not in their network.
Yes.
It's too hard to keep patients.
Yes.
Patients don't value what you do unless you're in network with them. And I just, of course, respectfully disagree. I think it is way more important on how you communicate and how you treat patients, what kind of time you devote to their care, and other aspects of their visits, what you do. But it's definitely not impossible to maintain that relationship, and people value what you do as well.
So I want to go with all of this that you're saying, because it's so true what I hear as a coach. You hear, well, I can't be out of network, patients won't come here. Or if I resign from insurance, my patients will stop coming. I literally just 2 meetings ago before this, he's resigning from Delta Dental PPO. And we've been having the conversations, and the patient knows the next time they come in, they're going to have to pay the dental office up front because that's how Delta does it. And I mean, he's had a small percentage of patients go, no, but his relationship is so good with them, they're fine. Mm-hmm. You started from scratch. You had the benefit of coming into a practice, which we're going to get to in this regard. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Every day, you have to have a conversation with patients about why you do it the way you do, that you're very passionate about your relationship and the quality of care you provide, all those things that we talk about. But what I'm thinking about is, what is someone listening to this who isn't really a believer in this, right? They're thinking, oh, you must not have any other competition around you, no other dental offices around you. So do patients leave your practice and go to their dental offices? Do patients leave other dental offices, come to you? What is your experience with that?
Yeah, so as far as patients leaving, we have very low attrition with our patient base. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. You always
Yeah,
have
every
patients
practice
that
does.
leave for one reason or another. But I will say the majority of patients that come to us that have never experienced that, pay for your service, and they've never experienced that. Their first visit, they're a little interested as to why we do that. But after the second visit, then they really know. They get it. They see what we're about. But I will say there are plenty of dentists around us. Augusta, as of right now, is technically underserved in the dental industry, but right where we are, there are a decent amount of dentists. So I wouldn't say it's like a lack of competition. There are plenty of people for every practice. So people a lot of times will come to us for, a word of mouth referral is typically how we like to advertise. I do some digital advertising stuff like that, but I love a word of mouth referral. So somebody we've taken care of, and they come to us.
So again, thinking like the person who doesn't see it the same way as what you're talking about, and they say, oh, people won't come to you because you're out of network. I mean, how many new patients do you see a month? I mean, do you mind sharing some numbers?
Yeah, my goal is usually between 30 to 40 new patients a month.
Wow. Okay. So 30 to 40 new patients a month, that's a lot. Yeah. So if you're seeing,
that's a number that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
If we're at the if we're at the 20 to 25 mark, that's usually still okay. But where I don't want to do too many where I can't give all those new patients that first visit that really shows them what we're about.
The experience. Absolutely. So that's what I was just getting ready to say is that 30 new patients, you have to, more than that, it gets hard. So, and what we count as new patients is an adult comprehensive exam new patient. So not kids, non-emergencies, that sort of thing. Are you saying that you're falling in that 30 range by following that same guideline, or are those kids and some emergencies? Or
I would say some emergencies. I don't really see kids.
Yeah.
Kids about 12 to 13, when they're leaving their pediatric dentist,
Yeah.
I start seeing them.
Okay.
But most of those patients are word of mouth referral, true new patients.
Okay. And so the next question they're saying is, yeah, but you probably have a lot of openings in your appointment and you're not that busy. So tell us a little bit about your practice. How many hygiene days a week? Are you busy? What's it like?
Yeah, so we work 4 days a week. 3 of those days we have 2 hygienists. And then one of those days we have a hygienist that works assisted hygiene. So we overlap her
Yep.
appointments. My big thing with her, and I think she loves it, is she takes care of just the hygiene on those days. She comes in, everything's ready for her, and she takes care of the hygiene, talking to the patient about what they need, and then waits for me to do the exam, and then she's on to her next patient. So she doesn't have to take the x-rays. She doesn't have to flip the rooms. She doesn't have to do all the medical history stuff for the patient. That's done by her assistant.
Got it. So, and the practice is busy.
Yeah, we're busy. I mean, I have realized at the end of this year, everybody's trying to squeeze in at the end of the year to get to use those benefits that they can still use in our office. And we're busy. I would probably say, that's another thing where it comes to competition with dentists. You talk to another dentist, and I recently had one at my daughter's school, and it's just, I'm booked out 6 months. I can't even take a day off. And it's like, no, I am not booked out 6 months. I would probably need to hire another dentist if that were the case.
Yeah.
But our actual treatment is usually booked out about 6 weeks. So if I'm trying to schedule a crown for a patient, that's about schedule implant, something like that. That's about 6 weeks.
So let's just summarize. You're out of network, fee for service, all insurances, and you're not starving.
Correct. You're right. You're right. Yeah. If I was starving, we'd have a problem.
Yeah. Do you feel like, man, I at any point financially, I wish I would have been in network?
Never. I mean, never.
Never
I
crosses your mind.
No. I mean, the thing is when I hear that from another dentist talking about we're booked out hygiene 6 months, and I can look at my hygiene schedule and I can find a spot here and there,
Yeah.
in the the next couple of weeks. I think to myself, oh man, should I have that? But then I just look to what we need,
Yeah.
for patients. We don't
Yeah.
have to have 30-minute hygiene appointments just so we can make up for the difference in reimbursement.
So the next question someone's thinking is, well, you must have really, really low rates, because then people will be fine paying for it. You must be really cheap doing, lower fees. I mean, I would say your fees are normal to the high end. Would you agree with that?
I would, yes.
Yeah.
I do a fee analysis every year. I get a fee schedule analysis, and I try to keep my fees roughly in the 80th percentile.
Perfect.
I think 80 to 85, depending on what I'm doing. I mean, there's certain things that are probably a little higher than that, but
Yeah.
that is kind of, I found the sweet spot to where you're not, you're not overcharging for what you're doing, but you're making a good number on it.
We say to patients, our goal is never to be the cheapest dentist in town. We don't want to be doing cheap dentistry that would apologize for the quality of work we do. But our goal is also not to be the most expensive in town. We want to charge something fair for a high quality service that we can provide to each and every patient. And everybody pays the same amount when they come in.
Yeah.
Now, the history of this practice. I see your numbers every month, and you send me your tracker. They're phenomenal numbers. I'll just say that I believe that you're a very top 5 to 8% practice in the country based on your numbers, what you guys do. It's an amazing, amazing practice. So I can testify that the practice numbers are amazing. There's no doubt that in my mind that you'd ever want to switch from how you're doing it. So, but let's talk about the history of the practice. You mentioned earlier, you knew that you did not want to be an in-network provider. You knew you were looking for something out of network. So what was it about this practice? It was already out of network and you found it how? Tell us some of that process.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know this practice existed initially. And my fourth year of dental school, I applied for the general practice residency, or the AAGD, here in Augusta, which they're a combined program at the time. Once I found out I got in, that was a residency that focused on implants, complex surgery, complex treatment planning. We had a prosthodontist that we met with every Wednesday, who's the top prosthodontist in the country. So I got a lot of really good experience. And I was at the Christmas party for the residency program when I was a fourth year dental student. And I just happened to ask one of the past residents. I said, hey, I know you were thinking about staying in Augusta for a certain period of time. Who should I look at as a practice to go into? And he gave me Dr. Allgood's number, and I called up Andy probably the next week, set up a time to meet with him in his office, and then set up a dinner with him and his wife and my wife. And I never talked to another dentist after that. He was the only one I talked to about a job and about a practice. We really aligned in our goals of what we wanted. Then when I found out, of course, that he was completely fee for service out of network, then I started, really getting my wheels turning, and found out what he did. He did not really do a whole lot of surgery. He tried to focus on the cosmetic work, and then also he did some Botox and fillers. So did no root canals, no endo. So I was able to kind of bring a really good extra skill set to the practice, that I wasn't going to be worried about taking stuff from him or him taking stuff from me. And it started off really well. And he was, I think, 69 when I first talked to him. So he was kind of at the point where he was thinking about slowing down or potentially selling. So all those things considered, it worked out really well.
So you went from associateship to owning the practice, or did you do a partnership? How did you guys do that?
No, I went from associateship to owning the practice.
Okay.
So I was there about 8 months from when I started as an associate to when I purchased the practice.
Wow.
And,
okay, quick.
He stayed on. It was supposed to be a year for to be an associate and kind of help in the transition. He ended up having some medical issues, which in hindsight, he was perfectly fine after them, did okay. But in hindsight, it actually made the transition a little easier. Patients knew that he was coming back, and it's not like they were just stuck with the new guy or anything like that. So it actually worked out very, very well. He got his medical stuff taken care of.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And the practice was taken care of too.
Wow. It sounds like a dream marriage, the way it all worked out for you guys. So, and I've known Andy for probably 20 years, and I know he's enjoying retirement too, and he knows that his practice is in good hands. So that was such a great win-win.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to what we said. People won't come to see you if you're out of network. So what do you say as the dentist to a patient? We'll talk about admin, but what do you say to a patient who says to you, well, do you take my insurance, or why don't you take my insurance? How do you handle that as a dentist? I know that's what some of the dentists are thinking is, I don't want to have that conversation. I just want to say, yeah, we take the insurance, come on in. What do you say?
So if somebody's asking me, for instance, I'm just talking to somebody, they find out I'm a dentist, and then they ask about insurance.
Yeah.
My typical response to them in the outside the practice conversation is usually, we file everybody's insurance for them. Typically, your insurance is going to pay us about as much, or if not more, than they pay your in-network dentists. And if they're asking why, it's typically because I'll just tell them, I like to come up with my own plan for you, and plan together so you can see where we're going forward. And I don't really want that to be dictated by anybody else.
Yeah.
And the conversation, some patients, which is fine, pretty reasonable. But once they come in, and then the team talks to them about it as well, it usually goes okay.
Yeah. Do you find that your team has a certain thing they say on the phone to the patient during like a phone call? Hey, yeah, I'm calling to see if you take my insurance. I'm putting you on a spot here. I know you don't answer the phone, but you like them to say it a certain way, right?
I do. And this is something that you've helped with, of course, in communication. We tend to, I don't really like the thought of like trying to hide that fact that we're not in network.
Good.
But the typical thing behind that question is, the patient doesn't realize exactly what they're looking for, what they want. They're coached in the medical field to always ask about insurance.
That's right.
And our medical colleagues have not done a great job at doing the out of network thing, as everything is dictated by in-network insurances. So, what we try to find out first, kind of what's the reason for calling? Why are you, we want to figure out, we want to talk to you. We want to know what's your concern, kind of what would be the reason for calling in. And then we approach the subject of the insurance, and we have our team talk to them about, yes, we file the insurance for you. We take care of all the legwork, the administrative aspect of it for you. And I think most of the time my team will tell them, as far as your preventive care, typically your insurance covers most, if not all of it, even in our office. The rest of it, the rest of the conversations with treatment tend to go on when I'm in they're in my chair.
Yeah. Yeah. We teach people how to treat us. And that's really what you're talking about. We being medical community, physicians have had a say in that, and insurance has had a say in that, and we need to have a say in that. And the mistake we've made is that, in-network, out-of-network conversation with dental really is this big thing when it's really not a big thing. You're talking about $1,500 a year, it doesn't even really play this huge role that we think it does. And when you're a dentist, the average PPO cost is 43%. So imagine taking 43% of what you're earning right now, Dr. Lopez, and just giving that away to the insurance company for no reason. When you just said it, they actually will pay your fee. They cover your fee, right? Do you hear patients, other than probably Delta, do you hear patients complain that much about the fee reimbursement they get at home?
No, other than the fact that most people don't want to pay for dental care, but the actual reimbursement of it, no. And I tend to follow it too, because you can see what the Delta Dental fee is, and it's actually really, really close to my fee anyways.
Yeah.
Which is, that surprised me initially, but
Yeah.
the reimbursement, they tend to not really complain much about it, because
Yeah.
then they realize, once they actually get that reimbursement, they realize that what we've kind of been telling them is true.
Yes.
That it's not like, oh, your insurance is going to cover $100 of this, and we just tried to cover that up until we did the ground.
Yeah.
They realize that, oh, they know what they're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. When a patient, here's a coaching nugget. When a patient calls and says, you take my insurance, what we train our offices to do is use transition statements. I'd be happy to help you out with that. Again, my name is Eric, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? And then we build that relationship and that rapport on the phone with them, so that the insurance isn't the primary point of the conversation. And it's not that we're never going to talk about it. It's just not the first thing we talk about. Once they get to know us, like, wow, these people really are sharp. They're savvy. They know what they're talking about. You're building confidence in your competence. They see you as somebody who's, wow, they really know what they're doing. I like the way they sound. Then you go back and you start addressing insurance, and you explain, we have a lot of patients who have your same exact insurance, and here's how we take care of them. And so now they're not feeling like they're being put to, oh, other people do it too. Law of the herd, right? This
Yep.
natural law. So it's not that complicated. And I can tell you the effort you have to put into being this way, to collect 100% of your fee, the effort you put in is well worth it compared to writing off 43%. That to me is a bigger headache and a bigger challenge, because now I'm limited. Can I give my team members a raise? Right?
Yeah.
I'm working for the insurance company for a fraction of the dollar, and I can't give what I want to give to my team. And therefore, I can't even train them the way I want, or maybe I'm not getting the team members that I want, or because I can't be attractive for them. So I know you've had your team for a long time. You have a long-standing team, and they're a huge part of your success in this, right?
Yeah, in my team, I'm like the second newest actually in it. So yeah, most of them were around before I even joined the practice, which has been great, and it's been great for patients to see everybody's still around, the same faces, which is very important for us. Going back to the reimbursement, the 43%. Just think about that as dentists. Of course, we want to take care of people, but it's also our career. So when we have a 43% reimbursement on what I should have made, there are only a couple ways to make up for that difference.
Yeah.
You can either try to cut your fixed costs as much as you can by using cheaper labs, using cheaper materials. I don't want to do that. The other thing is make up for it in volume. So that's what, our physician colleagues have had to do. My dad's a physician. He's just turned 66 this year, and he loves what he does, but he still sees 50 patients a day. Wow. And he's super busy. So you have to make up for that difference, that lower reimbursement in volume. And in dentistry, that's very difficult to do with high quality. I just feel like the patient's not going to get this experience. Whether you're very good at prepping stuff quickly, you still have to be in and out of there and on to the next patient. If you're taking half, so you think about, people have to double what they have to do.
That's right.
That's right. I just think you change your quality. You just have
exactly to. Right. You're exactly right. The business triangle, choose three, right? It's high quality, great customer service, and cheap. You can only pick two of those things. You can't be all three. You can't offer high quality, great customer service, and be cheap. So you got to decide what you want to be. And everybody's vision is different. There is no one right way to practice. What I want to show people is that, look, you can be this without a lot of stress. You don't have to worry so much about, there are stresses, but they're not the same stresses. So how does, we do our KPIs every month. We look at the tracker. How does that help you?
Y'all looking at my tracker?
Yeah. You sending us the Excel spreadsheet every month and we go over it. How does that help you?
It helps a lot, because there are little nuances that I still don't know to look for, or I don't know to find. And some of them are telling of, we need to kind of change couple things up. We need to change how we schedule this or that. Other things are just good tidbits of information to know. But it's always important to know how you're doing compared to last year, how you're tracking, how you're progressing forward. Ultimately, I've always said, if you're not climbing, you're declining. So, if we're plateauing, then we're leading to a problem in the future. I know y'all have dealt with the whole COVID shutdown, and this is something I still talk to my team all the time. And if you don't recover from that shutdown, you're going to constantly see that issue every 6 months.
That's right.
Every 6 months.
Yeah.
You had a void in your schedule for, we were very fortunate, that we were probably decreased capacity for about 6 weeks, completely shut down for 3 of those 6. So we didn't get hit as hard as some other people, but there are 6 weeks of the year that if you don't make up for that difference, you're going to have that every single 6 months.
It's a ripple effect. Absolutely right. We look at that, we compare it, and we were planning for that and figuring out how to spread that out. So yeah, coaching your team's been fun because they're already so really, you guys are so good at what you do already. We are just looking at those nuances and saying, all right, here's how we can tweak these little things, where it's new patients, marketing ideas we talk about, all that. So it's a fun team to work with. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to really pour into dentistry and give other people some ideas and some concepts and some things to think about. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So just remember this, those that are listening, obviously All-Star can help you with coaching services, KPI coaching services. If you're interested in any of that, you can send an email to heather@allstardentalacademy.com. And thank you guys so much for joining us and in taking time to invest in yourself. And until next time, go out there and be an all-star.